Hello! Welcome to Frower House After Hours.
No, it's Frower After Hours.
Frower After Hours.
Frower After Hours?
Yeah. Frower After Hours.
That's kind of fun.
I like it.
They just decided on this. I had no say whatsoever.
Filmed in front of a live studio audience.
With alcohol.
Which is my girlfriend Nicole.
We'll see if we get one live.
Listen to that single laugh, everybody.
So, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I had something clever to say, but whatever.
What were you going to say?
I forget. You guys made it all better.
We saw the new Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
Woo, buddy.
And,
I'm so happy.
It
Also,
was
Hunter's
good.
here.
It was very good.
Oh, let's introduce our guest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, so this is Hunter. Hunter is a screenwriter, or just writer in general, aren't you? You can do a little bit of everything.
I've worked with Tristan before,
Yep.
and now I'm the guy in the chair. Next to the guy.
Guy in the chair. And guy on the couch is now guy on the stool.
Yeah,
So-
guy on the ottoman.
Guy on the ottoman.
Let's be specific.
Ottoman Emperor.
So I think we're gonna start this off by having like maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes of a spoiler-free review.
Yeah.
But please, please, please be aware that what's about to be discussed is going to be the entirety of Spider-Man Far From Home. So it does contain spoilers.
And who knows where our discussion's gonna go?
Here.
We could be suddenly talking about the end of the movie, the middle of the movie.
Tristan, I'm gonna have you do this, and I know this is gonna be a post thing for you, but.
No.
Below or above is
The
going to be the
answer is no.
timestamp in which you can skip to where we start talking about spoilers.
Oh, you're the
Come on.
fucking worst.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that hard to do?
No, but it's extra
not.
stuff.
But it's convenient and it's nice for our viewers. Okay?
Okay. Fine, I'll do it. But only because I love you guys.
This channel's moving up.
Yeah.
Alright, well.
Alright, so we'll start off with spoiler-free reviews.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is a fantastic sequel to.
I definitely enjoyed this a lot more than I enjoyed Homecoming, and I did enjoy Homecoming a lot.
Yeah.
But I thought it had some kind of, I can't pinpoint the issues I had with Homecoming. There was just
I didn't
something there.
Yeah.
I think it's because Spider-Man felt almost too much like Spider-Boy. And in this one, I felt like way more of the
Well, because
Spider-Man.
there
I thought that's
Obviously-
interesting. I almost disagree with you there.
Almost
I thought
or
that-
totally?
I thought that he was more
Spider-Boy.
awkward in this one
But
than he
because
was in the
he-
last
That's
one.
fine. Awkwardness is fine. That's
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
He gave
Well, but-
that off because of what his objective was in
Yeah.
this film, but as you see through the movie, he has matured. I mean, considering what he's been through the past.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, he's definitely matured. I'm just saying that, and like I said, I could be even wrong. That might not even be the things that I had wrong with
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming. All I know is there was something about Homecoming that is not present in this film,
The
and I'm
pacing-
happy about it. So
I don't know.
take my word for it. I'm a film critic.
I don't know if this is because for the viewers, I was very slow on the Avengers game, and I watched Infinity War Endgame all in.
Infinity War Endgame.
Infinity War. I basically did a hybrid. I had not seen either of them, so I watched both of them last night. And Homecoming after I got home from Endgame because I could not sleep. And having seen both of those movies, maybe because they were long movies with a lot of wonderful development, Homecoming, the pacing of it was a little fast and felt a little forced. And it was a lot of introductory things for Spider-Man. Like it wasn't as there wasn't a clear-cut beginning, middle, and end to me in Homecoming as there was in this movie, and you weren't as immersed and familiar with Tom Holland's Peter
It's funny that
Parker.
you say there's still introductory things, but I guess that kind of goes into tiny spoiler territory,
Yeah.
so I'll hold off on it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just like the superhero introduction movie problem. Is they get to spend so much time setting up everything.
Technically,
The story comes like in the third act.
Yeah.
After you
But
spend
he was already Spider-Man.
exactly.
That's true.
Technically,
true.
he doesn't have an origin story right now.
Yeah.
Like the only reason we know what his origin is because
Because
of the
everybody knows
conversation he
what
has.
Spider-Man is.
No,
Okay,
because
that's
he had
actually what I was going to say.
When I rewatched Homecoming, he has the conversation with his best friend, and that's really the only way that we are aware of how he became.
Does
Spider-Man.
include one of my favorite throwaway lines.
Right.
Just they're talking.
I got bit by a spider? Can it bite me? Well, it probably would have hurt, right? You know what? Whatever. Even if it did hurt, I'll let it bite me. Maybe. How much did it hurt?
The spider's dead, Ned.
You're very good.
Yeah. I thought it's interesting hearing you guys talk about that. I almost felt that this movie had some of those similar problems.
I would agree.
Where I thought like there's a twist somewhere in about the middle of the movie, which to me is really where it gets going. And if you're familiar with the comics, you kind of know what the twist is already. And I was very ready for it.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think most people will.
It was very obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
If you're familiar with the comics,
I don't- I
that's
think
not-
Even if you're not familiar with the comics.
I think so because
I'm pretty sure.
I would think so.
I mean, Liz, who's not familiar with the comics, is
Saw
like
something.
saying.
But just in
But
case,
Liz
I'm
is
not gonna
also,
say.
I mean, she's an intelligent girl, but I don't think.
we're heading, even if it's not a
Yeah.
spoiler, we're heading into that territory.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was gonna say, to me, it was that wasn't the movie didn't really get going until then, and that I thought it was like very slow and maybe even like poorly paced.
I think it was just overstuffed. Like it had to deal with
The classic
the
Spider-Man
blip.
movie issue.
It had to deal with the death of Tony Stark. We had like several arcs for Peter to go throughout the movie. We introduced a new villain. We had to get Maria Hill and Samuel L. Jackson in there.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
And you had to suddenly establish that he liked MJ.
and it's, suddenly
And it was-
It was
Yeah.
kind of hinted at the
and
last
we had
movie.
to go on a
Really?
Slightly
road trip.
hinted.
Yeah, it was, and
I don't
so
know, I just watched Homecoming and honestly, it wasn't that
No.
hinted.
It's-
no. The only reason that it's hinted at is
It's
because
because
they
it's
say her
because
name
she
is
says
MJ,
MJ at the
and
end.
you go, oh, I bet Peter has a crush on her now.
Yeah.
I will say that I
And
mean,
that's
he
not
is
established.
hardcore infatuated with her, way more than I
Yeah,
expected
well, that's
him
something
to be.
I really liked about this movie is, I don't want
I
to
mean,
give
obviously
that
there's
away,
a time skip.
Their
No, I'm
romance was cute. It worked.
but, okay,
Yeah.
I will say that I really love the way that these writers and the director are handling Peter Parker being, how old is he exactly, 16?
16.
A
Yeah.
16-year-old.
He acts like a
He
teenager.
actually is
Yeah.
a 16-year-old in this
Yeah.
movie especially, and I really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
really liked it because
no, I would say if you're starting to kind of doze off, or for lack of a better word, which I started to feel like I really wasn't.
Well, it tries to get you back in by becoming almost a straight, like, slapstick comedy film.
Yeah, that's what it does. Like
It's
in lieu of like a lot of excitement for that first half, I think like you said they put in like slapstick comedy moments, which were not working for me.
Yeah.
But once that turn comes, I think there's a lot of really really cool stuff after that, and it's worth it to
Yeah.
me after that turn.
very much so.
So
Then
Well,
it becomes a big action movie. And
Yeah.
It's obviously well made, like every $100 million
Yeah.
action movie today is.
not everyone.
As with a lot of
I've seen a
MCU
lot of
films.
it.
They really did kind of bank on all of the slapstick, corny comedy, though, that the MCU, that is one of the things I actually have a kind of a grief
This-
with in
This did it up
Marvel movies.
maybe
It
even
really,
more than
any
normal.
Well,
Marvel
they
movie
did
I've
the
seen.
same thing in Spider-Man: Homecoming. They
Yeah,
ramped.
that was almost a comedy too.
I think
Well,
this
I don't
one
mind.
more
I
so.
don't mind comedy, but when
the,
we get
the
to
Spider-Man
Guardians
movies
2
have a
level,
they have a very different feeling of them
Yeah.
than the rest of the MCU. But one thing that
They
these
do.
movies do
that distinct
that I really,
Sony
really
feel.
enjoy is these Spider-Man movies really give you the opportunity to show what the heroes are to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Like they really put you in the shoes of the regular people.
Yeah, they ground it a little more.
And, but that's one of the things that it was overstuffed with.
Yeah.
And
think so.
that I feel like was not given enough time. Like
Yeah.
this, I mean, you could have made a whole movie about people dealing with the fact that everyone died for 5 years.
Yeah.
They kind of flipped over that, for lack of a better word.
I want to take this moment to address this. This half of the screen is going to be completely nerding out and having the time of our lives.
Yeah.
This half over here,
It's going to be very critical.
Yeah.
extremely critical. They're going to be tearing this shit
I
apart.
was jumping up and down before, during, and after this movie, and even though I
And
agree
I
and
would
see
not
the
have
flaws,
seen it if Tristan didn't buy me a ticket.
Yeah.
Probably for the rest of my
I
life.
also want to thank you for buying me a ticket to Endgame last night.
I do think if we flip, like if Emma sits there then the reviews probably get more critical as you would go.
Yeah.
If it was Emma first, Tristan, me, then Hunter, you would have a very clear idea of like
You are
you could put a positivity scale on the bottom of the YouTube video and just track it from there.
Yeah.
But that's fine. We chose these seats at random, so it didn't quite work
Well,
out.
your seat wasn't that random. You're like,
No,
I'm
I did. I
uncomfortable
chose
part.
the non-seat.
I always sit in the middle.
That sounds like Nazi.
Not the non-seat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I don't know how you guys feel about this, but
What?
I say we give our ratings now before the spoiler territory, so people that are just listening to find out like should I go to this movie,
Right.
decide based on that, and then
Jump in and
we'll jump into the spoiler territory.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
there's only
we'll-
so much we can say about.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about this before. It's like if you're a Marvel Universe fan, you're already going to see this.
I would say if you already wanted to see it because you love Marvel, it's not so bad that you'll hate it.
Yeah.
So,
in fact, I think
go see
you'll be very happy with
Fantastic
most of the movie if you're a Marvel fan, and if you're not a Marvel fan, then
Okay, coming
who
from
cares?
Me,
Why would you listen to us talk about
Let's
it?
let the optimist speak for a second and stop giving these people so much shit. If you like Spider-Man,
Yeah.
if you enjoy Peter Parker, if you enjoy the comics, please see this movie because it's very important. And
Yeah.
it's also, what I really liked about this movie is, I mean, Peter Parker and Tony Stark's relationship is so important, and they graze over it in the films, even though they push it kind of towards the end of Infinity War and Endgame. You do get to see
They
and
ram it
have
down
a
our
better
throats in
understanding of Tony Stark and Peter Parker's relationship
Yes.
and what Tony Stark really thought of him as a person.
Yeah, I think that
And the
works well.
potential that
Mm-hmm.
he saw, you get to see in this film, and that was really special to me. And
Oh, yeah.
that's what overall made
Yeah,
the movie fairly enjoyable.
Peter's arcs were what worked the best for me in
Yeah.
this movie. Like his romantic arc, his hero arc,
The
his
subplots
relationship
were
with Tony.
so silly, but that's Spider-Man.
That's
I mean,
high
that's-
school.
That's high school. That's Spider-Man, and yeah. So we want to give our ratings now, and then maybe discuss
And then-
it, and then give them tailored after. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Go down the line, Tristan.
Yeah, let's stop with Hunter. I'm gonna give this movie. Right now, it's at an A- for me. It might. I think it has the potential to go down to a B+ more than it has the potential to go down up to a solid A. Right now, it is at an A- for me. And don't be hurt by the minus. It's still an A, but it has some problems that I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to be able to put it into words way
Yeah.
better than I can.
We'll talk about
It's
it.
very good.
Well, that's why we're here.
Even though we were supposed to be on a weird scale, I actually completely agree with Tristan.
Really?
I
Okay.
had an A- in my head for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's
No, that's that camera.
okay.
Yeah. I'm going
Stupid camera.
B, which is pretty standard, I would say, for this type of superhero affair. I still think that these Spider-Man movies, Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man that's ever been on screen.
Oh, I have a whole
was-
section I want to talk about Tom
I
Holland.
know. These Spider-Man movies, which I'm gonna get some hate from Hunter on this, I still think are better than any Spider-Man movie that have been made. Better than the Tobey Maguires, definitely better than the Andrew Garfields. It's
All
still
around.
a superhero movie, so it's like hard that if we're saying that these films range from on the bottom end, Annabelle Comes Home, and on the
Go
top
see it.
top end, but go see it on the top end, Casablanca, which we will be filming tomorrow.
That's totally
Then this is a B, solid B. Yeah. It's great. It's on the upper end of the Marvel film still for me, despite some issues I found.
A B is pretty close to the top where Casablanca is.
Well, that's an A plus because there's plus
There's
minus.
gradations.
Yeah, there's
That's what that letter
yeah.
Um,
I don't think it's that close to Casablanca. I'm not saying that. Don't think that I think this is close to Casablanca.
It's about, I would say, right in the exact middle between Annabelle Comes Home and Casablanca.
So you're giving it a C.
I don't want to give a A through F rating.
You're actually going to rate it with numbers?
Yeah,
No, you
numeric rating.
gotta give it a letter.
I like him being the wild card.
Okay.
The thing is, I mean, it's like we just said, like, if you enjoy movies like this, if you're a Marvel fan, you're gonna go see it and enjoy it. If you don't, you won't.
Yeah.
If you're a person like me, you won't.
I mean, on a rank of like some MCU movies
if I'm
can be
ranking them,
standalone.
if I'm ranking them
This is
against
not one of
other
them.
MCU, well, yeah, I would say that's true. But I also think it's better than many MCU movies.
I would agree.
Probably it's
Right,
close to the top of that pile.
Yeah.
So
If that says anything.
don't
I
let
think
it
it
turn you
does.
away. I guess.
Let's hear your rating.
You still want to hear my
Yes.
rating?
Oh yeah, of course.
C.
Sliding scale.
Yeah,
I'll
well,
take it.
sure
All right,
enough.
we're heading into
All
spoilers.
right. Boom. I'm
Timestamp.
pointing to it. It's
We're
gonna
here.
be right where my hand is, guys. Christina put it right where my hand is right now.
Welcome.
You know I'm gonna put it down there, right?
All right, if you've skipped forward, we are now going to enter our spoiler.
Spoiler territory.
territory,
Ooh,
so-
that was dumb.
Beware. I mean, we're trying to be considerate here, okay?
Yeah. I mean,
I will
I'm
say
intending
this
on
too.
releasing this on Monday, so hopefully, like, at that point,
A majority of.
I'm letting everyone get through the Spider-Man Far From Home weekend,
Sure.
so that they can watch this.
Okay. Well, let's hop in. Hunter, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that my normal way of rating Marvel movies is if at any point in the movie I was so bored I wanted to leave the theater, and how many times that happened.
How many times?
And I would say once in this one small stretch.
Do we
Okay.
dare ask when it was?
It was like what Alex was saying, kind of like close to probably the first act break. Like I thought I was
Yeah.
all the way through the
Mine,
movie.
and I wouldn't have walked out, but I was pretty upset with this movie around the time that Peter accidentally calls in a drone strike on one of his fellow classmates, and they do like a large action beat where he has to stop a drone strike. And like a lot of like fumbling with Tony Stark's
It's like,
glasses.
what was the tone supposed to be?
Yeah, it was very, and he's like, stop, and then it's like where like he's trying to tell the drone to stop killing his classmates, but he keeps getting distracted and says like continuously to kill his classmates because of other conversations he's having, as if stop drone
Hilarious.
strike wouldn't take
Endearing.
precedent.
Character development for people to have doubts for
You know,
him as the new Iron
That's
Man.
a big
Okay.
doubt,
That,
though.
here's the thing.
Is.
That to me has like a lot of marks on like producer control, where like somebody clearly who's like, you know, a normal filmmaker wants to like have this grounded story where Peter Parker is trying to, you know,
struggling with this new responsibility.
Yeah, and wants to like go on vacation, have fun with his classmates, and then some producer comes in and says there has to be an action beat.
How about a
Where
wacky
he's-
scene where he tries
Well,
to
just like they're like he has to do some kind of action. He has to be Spider-Man, and they're like, well, we don't really want him to be in the suit until he's forced in the suit. And they were like, okay, well, what if he accidentally stumbles in some trouble? And they said, well, we have a lot of scenes like that. And they said, yeah, but it has to happen right now while he's on this bus. He has to be Spider-Man on this bus. Figure it out. And like that's what they have to write.
and then it causes so much chaos and destruction, and then the scene just ends.
Yep.
Okay,
Without
well,
anyone talking about it.
I am one of those people that am able to let certain things in a movie
For a
go.
sexy ass shot of Peter Parker leaping out of the top of the bus.
I did like that shot.
That
was
fucking
beautiful.
cool.
That was sexy.
Because it was a good
Ding.
Spider-Man shot. He did the little Spider-Man move.
It was
Instead of
so,
crying.
and I don't care what it took to lead up to that point. It was totally fucking worth it.
I thought at that point, I
There
was
needs
like,
to be a term for that. There's suspension of disbelief. There needs to be like suspension of giving a shit.
I thought it was going
Suspension.
to be a whole different movie when that happened. I was like, what is this? Like, is this the rest of the movie?
suspension of what is a good movie.
Like a Marx Brothers skit? Like Peter
I'm
Parker's
just saying there needs to
stripping
be a
me.
movie term for letting like little scenes go as long as
No,
it's cool as fuck.
but-
Why are we not gonna have Spider-Man be fucking
But-
goofy?
okay, but
like
to-
I
but
thoroughly enjoyed it because I
he can be
laughed at it.
goofy
It was hilarious.
when he can be goofy when like he is Spider-Man and in the suit and being
Yeah.
Spider-Man, but when he is Peter Parker, like
but that's what
let him breathe, let the movie breathe, let him be.
I forgot
that's what
that
I've never
Peter
liked
Parker,
though. It's like why when Peter Parker puts on the suit does he suddenly become this
He's
comic?
also-
Well, he is a
He's a
genius.
funny guy.
Yeah, he's also the smartest person.
And I forgot
Left
that
in
he was supposed to be
MCU.
so smart until
Yeah.
the 15 minutes before the end when he does genius technical stuff.
But it's like suddenly,
That's pretty big.
but
Okay,
he's like
I
so
understand
dumb that he
when
can't.
he's on the plane and constructing the suit.
What do we say? We're going right to the end of the movie.
Yeah,
Which was a part of the movie in which I was like, wow, this is like a Peter Parker. This is a very matured Peter Parker. That
which I mean
Tony Stark
is
saw.
what his arc was.
But we also, but the
he
problem
also
is that
supposed to be
we
like
also
a
saw
scientific
that
genius.
same arc in the first Spider-Man movie,
During
and
part.
like in Homecoming, you know, we see.
So you're
like,
talking about Homecoming, not Tobey
No,
Maguire.
but I'm saying that like if he's gone through the arc in which he's like, and in general, if we know Spider-Man's origin story, the idea of him becoming, you know, messing up
Yeah.
as a superhero, and then that leads to Ben's death, Uncle Ben's death,
Mhm.
and then the great power comes great responsibility, and so he becomes
We don't know if that
Spider-Man.
actually exists.
Right, but he does
It definitely
reference,
exists in this
and he
universe.
does reference with great power comes great responsibility in Civil War.
That phrase has never been
Okay.
said yet, and
But-
Uncle Ben has yet to be
But he
mentioned.
references it, and then the last one we see in Spider-Man: Homecoming, we see him mess up as a superhero, and make bad decisions,
Yeah.
and then Tony Stark comes and takes the suit and says, you know, if you you know,
Okay.
nothing without it, then you don't deserve it, right? And then he proves that he's
Well,
nothing
no,
without it,
so the
and now
arc-
suddenly we're like back to like bumbling. Oh crap! I don't know how to be a superhero, and it's like I wanted to see a little more.
I didn't take
It's a
take
different
it
arc
that
to me.
way.
No, Homecoming, I mean, having it very fresh in my mind, the arc in Homecoming was all about him believing in himself as Spider-Man. The arc in this movie was him believing in himself as being, like, talented enough and mature enough to take on those larger, as
Yeah, so it's
Mysterio,
about
but
taking
those
on the mantle.
Avenger-type
Yeah.
ordeals.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's what the
Yeah,
arc was for me.
and but there was also a lot where like the reason that the primary pull away from the Avengers level threat was not that he didn't necessarily
Thank you
think
for putting
that
that
he
way
could
out.
do it with his powers, but that he didn't want to. He wanted to be a
Yeah.
neighbor Spider-Man. He wanted to go on a trip with his friends, and I thought like that directly contradicts the "with great power comes great responsibility" credo of Spider-Man.
Well, let me say-
all,
But he
in all
denied
reality,
becoming
wouldn't
an
a
Avenger.
16-year-old kid like still struggle with that every now and
Yes.
then?
Sure.
I mean,
You flip back
I
and
don't
forth,
know,
and at the end of
but-
that
but-
movie, even if you
But that's
had that arc,
yeah, but that to me is the difference between that's supposed to be Spider-Man. You know, in the same way that like, you know, superheroes part of their quality and why we believe they're
Right.
superheroes and why Captain America is because he doesn't struggle with the same moral dilemmas we do. So Spider-Man, who inadvertently caused the death of his uncle, should not struggle with this anymore. That is part of his character, is that he now believes with great power comes great responsibility above everything else.
But he's
And-
the most human superhero.
Sure.
I mean, he has like a
He
day
is.
job.
Yeah,
he
and
lives with
I
his
think
mom.
that's
why
true,
we
but-
connect so deeply with Spider-Man. Like that's why I
But
think
the
Spider-Man
reason-
is like the most important.
To me,
one
the
of
reason
characters.
he should
Right.
always have trouble in his personal life because his duties of Spider-Man pull him away, not because Nick Fury pulls him away.
True, but he's about to have a
Well,
fuck
I
ton of
wanna say
trouble in his
something.
personal life now.
Which is
Yeah.
that, as I said, like my favorite part of this movie is
Uh-huh.
Peter Parker's like
Yeah.
main arc, and I like it, but also it was stolen directly from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. Because Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 was about Spider-Man not wanting to be Spider-Man
Yeah.
anymore.
Okay.
Leaving
See?
his thing behind.
That's the thing. Spider-Man 2. I really like. It was actually in the first act of this movie where I'm thinking, this is where I actually disagree with you guys. I thought the first act was really strong. I thought we were headed towards a really like solid movie. I'm like, do you think maybe that this movie is gonna make Spider-Man 2 rank down and make this sequel instead actually take the spot as my favorite Spider-Man
That will
movie?
never
But no, it doesn't. Spider-Man 2 is still the best.
No,
It's-
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is the superior Spider-Man.
I
movie. There's
can't
no
count
argument there.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as like
Because you haven't seen it.
what?
Right?
No, yeah, he's
I've
seen
seen
like
it 3
times.
Oh, just
times.
kidding. You haven't seen it.
No, I've seen it.
What the fuck? Okay, I thought you hadn't seen
No,
it.
I'm saying Spider-Man
I hadn't
Into
seen
the
it for a while.
Spider-Verse
Okay.
is a near flawless Spider-Man movie, but I feel like it's animated. I think that puts it aside from these other like
It's a
movies.
different kind of movie.
Yeah.
The style of it lets it get away with certain other things that these live action
I
ones
do-
never could have.
I do like how they poked fun at like fanboys in this movie when Mysterio Quentin Begley's talking about how he made up, you know, and they even did it. He talked about the multiverse in the trailers.
Yeah.
And if you're on Reddit as much as I am, you know that people were jizzing their pants at the
About a
hinting
possible
of a
crossover
multiverse,
multiverse.
And not even just within Spider-Man, but with
I
like
was one of them.
all of the different crazy, insane fan theories that like, oh, now that there's a multiverse, we're gonna bring in all these stuff from the multiverse, and then in the movie, Quentin Beck says, that's the type of crazy stuff people are willing to believe nowadays.
Yeah.
I like that they walked back the multiverse too,
Yeah.
because this
Yeah.
universe is already complex enough.
Yeah.
I don't care. I wanted my Spider-Man crossover.
Yeah.
And now we're two steps forward,
But I
three
also
steps
like the
We just
technological
had a
Mysterio.
multiverse.
Yeah.
That
That's
was great.
Yeah, that's fine, but I want Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland all in one movie.
I mean,
I don't.
I want every Spider-Man movie to, in some sense, be canon. I want to be able to watch any Spider-Man movie and think to myself, oh, you know what? These movies are still
On
connected.
gotta wait 10
that
years.
subject,
No,
can
we're
we
good.
talk about it? Can we talk about it?
Yes, we're in spoiler
Okay,
three
let's
now.
talk about it because my jaw hit the fucking floor at the mid-credit scene.
Oh, we're going all the way to that.
I have to. I cannot hold it in anymore. I freaked the fuck out. He's back.
He
I'm
is
so mad.
back.
He's here.
Huh?
And
I
like,
predicted that would happen. And I did not say, I was sitting there and I was like, I bet the ending, can I say it?
yes,
Yeah.
this
I
is
bet the ending is Jake K. Simmons and J. Jonah Jameson shows up and we revealed that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. I was
Now-
like sitting there, I was like, I know this is happening.
Sure, okay, you knew
How did you know? What?
Because I was just like, where's the most obvious next place to take this? Okay, so now
No, I
he's
see
Tony
that. I
Stark,
really wanted the-
so they reveal that he is Peter Parker.
I wasn't
Okay.
shocked that the Daily Bugle was involved. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, maybe he's going to be announced. But I did not know that we were going to get our OG JJ
It's just like it's
back.
just such a it's the most obvious thing
Yeah.
for them to have taken from that series.
I
You know?
love it.
Like,
like to pay some homage to it without,
Yeah.
Now I want to know if he's
Having
having in
a
there as a
multiverse.
regular or if this was just a one-time
No,
kind of
people-
deal.
He has
I think
to
he's
be.
just gonna be like Alex Jones showing up on your computer screen screaming about Spider-Man. Like,
Yeah.
he's not gonna be like
Perfect.
a big part.
That's
you know?
fine.
and
That's
they'll
totally
release
fine.
like
Just
extra
climb in front of the
YouTube
green
videos
screen the whole
and stuff.
time. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be really cool. Presumably we get another one of these. I'm excited for what now. I think this sets up for a phase of the Marvel Universe in which people really don't like the heroes, right? So this happens
Did we
with
have that?
no, but
I
like
mean, kind of, but
No.
We kind of had a
People-
full-blown 2.5-hour movie about that.
yeah, but like that was like focused more on the government, and now we're gonna end up focusing on like because Spider-Man, right, and presumably we're bringing the X-Men in next, because Disney and Marvel now owns it. So
Yeah.
like the full kind of street level where there's like, not just the government or like other entities trying to curb superheroes, but where it's gonna become, and they're gonna be able to build on that to where like the superheroes presumably are going to be stopped from doing their job.
Yeah.
Because
I
Again,
would
that's
say they
Civil
did
War.
this because they just wanted to break everyone apart. Because they're going to build up for the next Avengers Infinity War, whatever. you know?
whoever the next.
So it's like we broke S.H.I.E.L.D. and now everybody hates Spider-Man and everyone's like separated.
Did you at no point think that Green Goblin would be the tease?
I did not.
Because I would have thought that the next tease was going to be Oscorp. That at no point.
Well, I figured it had to be something
well, hell,
big.
if
It
we're
wasn't going to be
bringing
like
back
just
J.K.
for
Simmons, then I mean,
Spider-Man.
Then bring back
You
Willem
know,
Dafoe.
maybe-
bring back Willem Dafoe.
Every time I see Willem Dafoe, I get sad that I'm never going to get him as Norman Osborn
They
again.
won't. They won't.
Now I know it's possible.
No, you all know Bryan Cranston is the next
I'd be fine with that too.
Osborn.
I'd be fine with that too. Before we
I
shift too
didn't
far away
think
from
about
the
it.
mid-credit
From
scene,
Oh, okay.
Oh my god. Oh
so-
my god.
Yeah, he's the obvious
Okay.
choice.
so in the original Spider-Man trilogy, the Raimi trilogy, Spider-Man's secret identity was a big deal. Like, I mean, they wouldn't even let MJ know it.
Yeah.
And it added to some frustrating storylines,
Yeah.
especially with Peter and MJ. In the reboot with Andrew Garfield, they tossed that a little bit aside. They were like, okay, you know what, let's let his love interest immediately find out that he's
Yeah.
Spider-Man, so we don't need to deal with that.
Yeah.
This time it seemed like, fuck it.
Yeah,
Everyone knows
She
Peter
fucking
Parker is
figures it out
Spider-Man.
first.
No more secret identity.
I
It's
think
gone.
That's
I
just
like
like the
that.
Marvel thing. Like,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
of their heroes are just out there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like when he's walking around, I don't know what location they were at, but when he's first introduced to Mysterio, and he's like, well, you don't have to wear
Lose the mask, everyone already knows it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a weird. I think part of the, pro in like, killing off Iron Man and Captain America, who didn't have to keep their identity secret,
Mm-hmm.
and the way we've kind of walked it back now. with these people. I thought you could start bringing secret identities back to the Marvel universe, and I think
I just think it's too complicated to work with.
But with Spider-Man, it
and
works.
Their heroes are like world defenders, so they
But I think like that to me, I wish is what separated Spider-Man. Is that like
I feel the same way.
But he's the new Tony Stark. That was his I Am Iron Man.
Yeah, that was it. But now it's like because now what he has to move, Aunt May into Stark Tower, which has like drones ready to kill anyone who goes near Stark Tower. Like, and
so
how many
times?
How many times did Pepper Potts like nearly get her ship blown up? Like, and now
did you say ship or shit?
All of Spider-Man's loved ones are constantly almost getting murdered. And every Spider-Man.
But like, I wish that they would
drink.
I'm still not over
do that.
No one's
I wish they would, because if you guys follow the comics,
if
you follow the comics, as soon as Spider-Man reveals his secret identity, Aunt May is murdered, and that I thought, and in order to walk back him, like giving his secret identity up, led to like a lot of problems in the comics, and I don't see how it's gonna work in this either. But whatever. I mean, they're their own thing.
Maybe it's one more illusion.
Sorry, you said I am Iron Man, and I got very emotional thinking about that moment.
It was a good moment.
I had to get
It wasn't a moment.
But yeah, I mean,
we almost have not beaten that movie in the MCU, the first movie in the whole franchise.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean I'm talking about the end of.
Oh, okay.
Endgame.
Yeah. I really did like the secret identity. I like a good secret identity, and it was nice that we finally had Spider-Man with one.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't do a great job ever, this Spider-Man never did a great job hiding his secret
But
identity.
what 16-year-old boy would be able to hide something like that from
but it's
his
the same
best
thing.
friend
It's like
or the girl that he likes?
yeah, which is fine. I mean, like him, like people he trusts, Aunt May, and
Yeah.
I thought that was a good middle ground because you're right. And like the Sam Raimi, like the stuff they have to do to keep.
It was almost too much of a rule.
Yeah, to keep
that you
like
had to
Aunt May from knowing, and 16 and Aunt May can't know your Spider-Man seems impossible, right? But like the world is too far. I think it's gonna lead to more problems than not.
I think Aunt May knew in the Raimi trilogy. I'm pretty sure.
In the second one, he tells her.
He doesn't tell her that he's Spider-Man. He tells her that he was responsible for Uncle Ben's murder.
I thought that also leads to his.
Don't question me on this, Alex.
Okay. It's been a while.
On my top 10.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I don't know where this is going to lead for this Spider-Man, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, Sony's not going to back out of this deal if they want to.
No. I'm not going to be
stay alive.
They're going to do very well on this.
I'm not going to be disappointed.
Sony makes all the money off of these movies.
They do, and
Disney
they're going to do.
Doesn't see a dime of this.
They're going to do well on this, and they're going to realize that has a lot to do with the fact that it came out of Endgame, and they are going to continue to work with Marvel and Disney. I imagine because.
I'd rather these guys collaborate than battle it out for like a buyout or something.
Yeah, I think that will happen too. I don't see why they wouldn't. They'll let the animated universe extend on its own.
Right. And then eventually we just get the ultimate nerdgasm film. Everything comes back. We got Into the Spider-Verse in there. We got all the Spider-Man coming. Throw Star Wars in there. It's just all there. And everyone's just going to explode. It's going to be one collective nerdgasm. I don't even need a good story for that. Just give me everything.
Yeah, that was Endgame.
That was Endgame.
Yeah.
Star Wars wasn't in Endgame. I'm saying put Star Wars in there too.
No, that would be ridiculous.
Alright, good.
I'm not saying make it canon. I'm just saying
I
do
do love
it.
the Star Wars references that they have in all of the Spider-Man movies.
I can't help but think every time they make a Star Wars reference, like, Disney owns you too. What are you doing?
Yeah, that Hunter said that actually in the movie where he's like, every time they talk about Star Wars, it's just like Disney
Flexing,
like, patting themselves on the back or like trying to sell you more stuff in both of their movies. Yeah, Hunter, we want your thoughts on Spider-Man's Star Wars plugs.
You guys mentioned that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does annoy me that every movie that has had Spider-Man in it, he has made a Star Wars reference. just because Disney also owns Star Wars.
I also
Stop
wonder
patting
where the
yourselves on the back.
crossover begins. Like I was like, quote unquote, by your words, live tweeting both of them as I was watching these movies, and they started listing off all the alien-related movies, and I was wondering, there has to be some kind of crossover somewhere between the cast of.
I mean, there's probably a comic book that's Spider-Man meets Luke Skywalker.
I know there's Darth Vader versus like Alien or Predator.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Speaking of Sony, I love that this movie just immediately begins with Sony. Like Sony makes it very clear immediately, we own this shit.
Various obvious Dr. Very obvious, yeah, various. I said various. Dr. Pepper ad when you meet Mysterio for the first time. I don't know if you saw that, but in that very weird, broken down town. Where was it?
In that
was
weird
a
like 40-second scene, cold open,
Yep.
that I did not care for.
That scene made me wish the whole movie
You don't
was
want to
about
be part of
Mysterio.
this. Okay.
Let's talk about Mysterio.
Thank you. Can we move into talking about Mysterio? Jake Gyllenhaal.
No, I mean, I love Jake Gyllenhaal. He's for me the best part of the movie.
He's my- so-
because I just love to watch him on screen.
Yeah.
Every actor.
If I think about it, I like to claim Paul Dano as one of my favorite actors, but really I think Jake Gyllenhaal's up there. Just looking at how many of my personal top films include him and the amount of times that I have seen him in different things. Like I have traveled and will be traveling to New York in September to go see him on Broadway because I think he is an absolutely phenomenal performer and actor, and I think any role that he has ever been a part of and done is always one of the most like authentic performances I've seen. Like in this movie too.
Yeah.
It's
But I did think he was a little weak when he was pretending to be a hero. Like I was a little like
But is that
underwhelmed. And
not
I know
serious,
like the idea is that he's supposed to be like it's supposed to seem like stiff because you're not supposed to buy it. But I mostly just I don't know, I didn't care and I wanted him because he's so much better when he like becomes Mysterio.
He
He's like
had a lot more to do once he had his turn.
Yeah,
It's a very hard character to portray, though, because you have to play this person as someone who is an illusionist, and everything that they're giving you is completely fabricated unless you see the veil completely slip, in which you have this, like, off-the-rails, almost kind of like a performance director yelling at his crew members.
Yeah.
It's a really
I
hard
love
thing
that.
to pull off and be taken seriously at any point, and I think he does it phenomenally.
Yeah.
He's definitely, to me, and I think you just said, the highlight of this movie. He's absolutely...
And I also really like that character and concept.
Yeah.
Like that, the idea, and the like more technological as opposed to magical Mysterio.
They did modernize it very well.
No, he was always technological.
Was he?
He was
never
always
had-
special effects.
He's a special effects artist.
But they just
He was
modernize
special effects.
it.
Yeah, and the idea of like, you know, his illusions not having to be hand built, but something
Yeah.
he could change on the spot. So the sequence, which was incredible,
And did
when
you say-
Spider-Man starts, when Mysterio gets him in that all illusion, he doesn't know what's real and what's not real.
Here's my problem with that sequence.
Yeah.
Is that I feel like it would have taken like 10,000 animators months to make an entire 3D rendering of a space for Spider-Man to fall through and move around.
Yeah.
And he was like, it just.
He was
I wish Liz was here right now
to talk about what it would
to
take
tell me if it
to
could
on the
Peaceful and
spot.
all.
to on the spot like
Fuck
an
with
initial
Spider-Man
environment.
for yeah. No, I mean
Okay, well, I will tell you this. She talked to me a little bit about it when we were walking home. No, it's not fucking possible.
But like that just like took me out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is like too
Yeah.
much.
yeah, I mean
I
it's the same thing, but we do establish in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that like
Technology
Tony
is
Stark's
very far
drones
advanced.
conjure like just pictures of things he's working with all the time.
Yeah.
Like those like, you know, even when Spider-Man is on the plane and he's, you know, building his suit and then it creates it, or like the fact that in Infinity War, Tony Stark can just think about turning his Iron Man suit into a sword or his feet into a hammer.
Well,
That like the Stark
Or
technology,
calculate time travel
because it's
and
only
all of a
after
sudden-
he has the glasses that he's able to do
Yeah.
those types of.
Yeah.
If I think
Which
it,
is
the
very
illusion
The
happens.
difference for me felt like it felt like that
The brain is
scene
going
was
a
supposed
million
to
miles
be
an hour.
was meant to impress me in the audience.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it doesn't make any sense annoyed me. I'm like, no, I'm not impressed
I was
that you
impressed.
just have animators.
Yeah, I was impressed impressed because, like, you're right. Like,
But
if you
you're
think
on
about,
this
like,
journey with Spider-Man where you genuinely don't know when the illusion is up.
Yeah, and I like that in concept, as I said. I
Yeah.
feel like that scene for me didn't work.
it seems weird though that is the place where
We
you're
did
like,
get zombie
okay,
Iron Man
we
though.
live in a
Come
world
on.
where
Oh my
Zombie Iron Man.
can
Brutal.
like, you know, Spider-Man can,
Don't
a
forget about
60-year-old
that.
kid
I'll
can create
about that.
webs that has tensile strength enough to carry him through buildings, but will also, and sticky, but is nearly infinite. But then some of you are like, but animators can't do that.
These things are explained or they're given time. I mean,
Are they
Jake Gyllenhaal had to
Alright,
put that whole
Tristan,
thing
you
together
need
in
to
one
animate flames
day.
coming out of his
No,
ears and
I
flames
think
coming out of
that
ours.
Tony Stark
Okay.
AI animates
That'll
it
do.
on the spot.
Timestamp.
Yeah,
though.
he's
Fuck that.
thinking it, and basically like it's the Edith AI.
And now he's just like imagining dream worlds.
Yeah, he's imagining dream worlds that he's
Okay.
it's
You know what?
conjuring in front of him.
You know what? We need to break up this hate it, love it. Switch with me. We need to break this up.
Well, let
We
me,
need to.
They're
put-
gonna be mad though.
We
when
need.
go to
I don't
school.
care. We need to
Here's-
put a blockage through this right now because there's
Hello,
two
Alex.
conversations going on at one time, and I need to control this.
so can anyone
Okay.
explain what
What?
Mysterio's goal is?
He wants to be like the hero. He
Iron
wants to be
Man.
in the spotlight.
But why?
Because he's
Because
okay.
he's
Same
Jake
with-
Gyllenhaal syndrome.
Same with the Vulture. They're mad because they have been undermined and unappreciated by these larger powers that they see as being. I mean,
I see
the
that
same way
that's his
we're.
motive, but
Yes.
what is his goal?
Yeah, I mean, and I think so. Hunter and I had this conversation
Okay,
quickly
okay.
after the movie, and that Mysterio does briefly reference the fact it's like, okay, if I become a hero, then I have a public platform for my ideas, which he never says what his political
I
goals
don't know.
are.
I don't think.
But he
his
says if, you
motives
know,
were all that
that I had a lot of,
in the way that I sympathize with them.
yeah, that,
No.
Don't
I-
sympathize with Thanos.
Why? I do.
No, you don't.
Yes,
That's
I
a
do.
terrible thing to do.
No, I can understand Mysterio's motives and why he's angry
Yes.
and why he wants to get back at Tony. I don't
Obviously,
understand what
he's
his
kind of
what
fucking
his
crazy,
long-term
but-
goal
yeah,
is
because
for his
because
plan.
basically, and we talked about it, the fatal flaw is that he has to be counting on the fact that there are no more alien invasions to take over Earth.
No, that's the funny thing is that's
He
what I
can't
was
stop
imagining the
them.
entire time. Because what if an actual
Yeah.
invasion happens?
Yeah.
What if an actual attack
So
happens?
he
What
just-
is
He
going to
scares
do
them
then?
away, I guess.
He
That's
just decided, he was like, okay, if all of the next big global threats are ones I create, then I'm fine. But like,
Then
you know,
fine, but then he's just the most famous superhero. But then what?
Well, why the
Well,
fuck
but
would you
then-
want to be?
then he gets to, yeah, he does,
Why
he just
would
wants
you
to be
not be?
loved.
yeah. I get
See
it.
the regard people hold Tony Stark at after his death. I mean, there's murals of him all
Yeah.
over the world that we are shown when they go to Venice. In the airport, there's a poster of him.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to be held in that regard if
Like,
you're
people should
even
think I'm cool,
mildly
too.
insane?
Yeah.
Which he is.
Okay.
And then you
Yeah.
say
But I
like,
feel that's just weak.
or that you say that I really
Yes, but Mysterio
Well,
is a
I
weak
mean-
villain, and that's what makes him so interesting.
Yeah, or even just that I do have the technology and I'm really smart. I'm smart enough to create this technology that barely even, that's almost magic to create fake monsters and synchronize them with drones
Why
that
the
explode
hell
things.
would
It's like
it-
I should be way more famous than I am because I created this technology.
But now he's gonna keep up being a superhero for the rest of his life. And as we said, so anyone attacks is like, actually, I
And he
can't.
also had a support group that believed in him, that wanted a part of this, and you have
I
a
did
team
like
with
the
a...
Ant team. You
Yeah.
know, he gave
Also,
props
I want to
to
talk
him.
about that because I think you were telling me that there was one person in one of the Spider-Verses, was it you telling me that? That there was one actor who appeared in all movies that was
Oh,
going
yeah.
to be Mysterio?
Yeah, and the original plan, if Spider-Man 4 had
Yeah.
happened, rest its soul, is that Bruce Campbell's cameos
Yeah.
would have all led up to him secretly spying on Peter Parker this whole time, and it been
That's
Mysterio.
awesome.
And they did that, and I thought that was super fucking cool.
But it's not Bruce Campbell, and I'm mad.
No, but
It's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah,
I
it is.
Yeah.
that was one little tidbit I thought was interesting.
It
He
is-
was introducing all of the members of his team and
Right.
kind
We're
of,
all.
like
been
referencing back
around.
to them.
I like that he was a team player for a little while, and then he threatened everyone.
Yeah, that's an incredible part.
Yeah, that. See, what I loved about the Vulture so much in Spider-Man: Homecoming, That man was not fighting to take over the world. That man was fighting to be an upper middle class gentleman.
Yeah.
And that was great.
He had a solid character.
Yeah.
He did. I really liked
Yeah.
him in that movie.
And the best scene in Homecoming is that scene where the Vulture and Peter Parker are like sitting in the car.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
That's one of the best
That
things
is
in the MCU. is
amazing.
Yeah.
I think from the moment that Peter walks into his house and sees that it's him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Holland also, bravo, in that
Of course.
effort.
There was a
always.
great shot of Tom Holland's ass at one point in this movie.
Is he the new America's ass now that...
I guess he has
He is both Captain America and Iron Man.
together.
Yeah.
What big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Okay, props to Tom Holland.
I know, that ass.
Too.
Beautiful.
And I mean, definitely the best person to have ever played Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, coming from Stanley himself.
Yeah.
He's the
Well,
embodiment.
Stanley said that about every Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah. Stan Lee is also.
Well, I don't give a shit. I trust him on this one.
Yeah, but I do
Like
think that
broken clocks are
Tom Holland
interesting.
is the best. I do in some ways. I think I like Kevin Smith's quote about it. He said, "Tobey Maguire was a great Peter Parker, but not a great Spider-Man."
Classic.
Andrew Garfield's a great Spider-Man, but not a good Peter Parker. And Tom Holland is the only one who's been able to capture both Spider-Man
And
and
Into
Peter
the
Parker.
Spider-Verse, Miles Morales was the best ever.
This time
That movie was very good.
Like with this movie, I saw Ultimate Spider-Man just come right off the page. This
Yeah.
is very.
Yeah, it did remind me more.
Although
of
they
the
actually
Spider-Man, which is
finally
good.
like made the reference. This is Earth 616.
They said that,
which is the
but
main
then
universe in the
then-
actual
but
Marvel
then it
comics.
wasn't
But
because
then he just
I know.
made that number up.
Yeah, so I guess in
This
the end.
And-
616.
and
I was
also-
excited. I thought, oh,
I
confirmed.
think
But no, it was
homage
just
to
it was
the
it's,
comics,
it's,
not
yeah, it's a
yeah.
homage.
because in the comics, the MCU does have a universe designation, I believe. That's not 616.
Yeah, and I
MCU
suppose that this is its own universe.
So it is not technically 616 if you follow like comics canon because 616 is the comics canon and then
Yeah.
MCU would be a different. I don't know.
and then we got the Ultimate, and then we have Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah.
and
We have. I mean, there's like Infinite.
Yeah, I mean-
Logan and
Yeah.
universe.
we have the one where both DC and Marvel exist at the same time.
The Gwen
Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
That's it.
Inadvertently.
Yeah, you're
But I
you're
do-
pulling
alright.
Gwen Stacy
Yeah.
right now.
I got the
Speaking of
colors.
which, I want to bring this up. Canonically, Emma is in the MCU because she was an extra in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
I'm sorry, did you momentarily forget you were in Spider-Man Homecoming?
So I did.
have to say, when I watched that movie last night, it was one of the most weird feelings I've ever had because they got to the Washington Monument scene,
Yeah.
and I felt very personally connected to it. I can only
Because
imagine
you were
how
Did you
there?
find yourself?
Huh?
Did you find yourself on screen?
No. The scene
If you haven't
happens
watched
for, like,
Find
1
Yourself by Frower Studios, link in the below.
Alright, well,
But-
okay, yeah, big moment. The part where the elevator blows up in the Washington Monument in Spider-Man Homecoming, I was there.
So what?
That's cool. So
Do you-
I am a part of the
Do
Spider-Verse.
you have a name for your character? What happened to your character in Snap? Did you get snapped? Did you blip back?
Oh.
Where are you in this film?
Oh my god.
Give me powers.
Yeah. Well.
That's a good
I know-
segue that
no, I know. I actually really did come up with that.
Yeah, go for it.
Tell us.
My name was Matilda. I know that I don't know, I had
No.
very short dark hair.
Yep.
I pixied my hair, it was cut dark, and I had a child, and his name was Ryan.
Yep.
And we were going there because his father, who was in the military, had passed away.
Sure.
And I was taking him to Washington to show him all of the different historical sites.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
And yeah, we were up at the top of the Washington Monument. We're fine. We're
Any-
fine now.
any
and now he
thoughts?
dresses up as Spider-Man because Spider-Man was there, and he's
Yeah.
infatuated with him. And
How did things go post Snap?
Did you get snapped?
oh,
You were Ryan.
blipped.
You
I
were
blipped
Ryan.
the fuck out.
So but your son?
No,
No.
Oh,
So your
wow.
son,
my son did not.
when you blip back,
He's 5 years old.
5 years
5 years older, and presumably
Very much so.
Orphanage?
At that reunion? No,
where?
no. He's at home with my sister.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great. Who didn't blip?
who did not blip.
So now you are
Now I'm back.
This
back,
actually feels
older than your
almost
sister,
real.
and what do you and your son think about
About
the
Spider-Man
accusations
being revealed?
and
Yeah,
the accusations that he's a menace?
We don't believe them because we saw it firsthand that he is a good person.
Here we go. You have it here first,
So
Matilda.
maybe that's how Spider-Man redeems himself in the future.
There you go.
Right
Matilda is gonna go to the people and
I'm gonna
say,
come back.
We got somebody else.
Kevin
around.
Feige, if you're listening.
yeah, Matilda solo film. The people
I'm
are
here.
asking for it.
I'm here.
Matilda, an
Call it
MCU story.
The new Matilda.
Well, we know what your powers are.
Well, now that's revealed. I never knew how to bring that up, but it's something I'm very proud of, and it was a wonderful experience as an actor to work on those films, and I will always be very grateful for that
I
experience.
love how it never occurred to you that our Spider-Man discussion
No,
might be the chance where you could finally bring that
I
up.
didn't think about that.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Since you brought up the snap, this is something that I want to touch
Oh,
on.
hey, Pinewood Studios.
I guess
By the way,
not.
I never got my paycheck. I was homeless at the time, so if you still have it, let me know.
Boom. Calling out Disney. How much you gonna make on this movie and you can't pay him up?
It's crazy.
Well,
That's
remember
Hollywood
Sony
content.
made all the money there.
Well, Sony then. Well, but
I
Sony,
guess-
she
I
was in a
guess it's my
Spider
fault
movie.
Well,
for
Sony
not
actually does
having
need
a
it.
home address or something.
All right, Sony, we understand.
Let's move on, guys.
Okay, so you mentioned the snap.
The blip.
Yeah, the blip, the decimation, the snap. It has a bunch of different
It would be
names.
nice if it was not.
It's the blip in
I think
this
it's
one.
funny. Well, I think that's so fucking funny because it's a very goofy name,
It's true.
and people seem to just graze over it.
It's like-
it's
it's
a
like-
comical thing now.
Okay, the movie begins with like footage of a basketball game and a band.
No,
50%
no, no,
of,
no.
like-
The movie begins with the Tony Stark Memorial,
Right.
which had a very low quality photo of Vision that brought me almost to tears with laughter. And they used Comic Sans.
I
Yeah.
cannot get enough
And Whitney Houston.
of a post-snap world. Everything that they show of the aftermath of the snap. I just keep wanting more of
No,
it.
I
Something that's
I
actually
want-
interesting.
Look, Disney Plus, they need to do a series that just follows
But-
characters of the 5-year snap.
I
want to
agree.
see as much snap stuff as possible.
Well, I really liked that portion of Endgame though, when you have people trying to,
The support group and everything.
that was very funny.
With the Russo cameo.
Trying to,
Right. I think
oh
it was
my god, what
Anthony.
is the word I'm trying to think of? To deal with, to...
Yeah.
Grief.
Well, but then even
I'm
now,
trying
the
to think
idea
of what
that
Depression.
everybody's back and they have Aunt May and she's talking about, you know,
happened. I'm confused.
people losing their homes.
I'm confused for a moment. Okay, what's his best friend's name again?
Ned.
Ned. Okay, at the end of Endgame, when you see...
They were
or
both
maybe it's the
snapped.
beginning, but they have this reunion at school where Ned and Peter, like Ned actually looks visually upset that he's seeing Peter again. When, if he were blipped, would have been just a moment for him as well, but he seems very emotional. and
Well,
then
yeah, because he still has learned what happened.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Still would be
enough
weird.
time hasn't passed if they're actually going back to school.
That just confused me for a moment because of the emotional reaction that he had to seeing his friend, whom to him would have been nothing. Like
He just wanted to make sure Spider-Man was alive.
I think it would have been fun if either Ned or MJ had gotten older.
well, we
And
do
that's
have
That
suddenly-
would change everything. Like,
Yeah, I know. But
Yeah.
like, wouldn't that be interesting if in this universe, you know, Ned is now like a college student?
I mean, he could. I think
But
the
they had
actor's
to
like
use the same
26.
actor. Yeah.
That's
but
true,
He still
that
looks
is-
like he's 15.
Yeah, that is true. He would look too similar for them to really have to do it. I don't know. That would be
interesting.
tough to navigate
It's
that.
very
Think
convenient
about
with a
it,
lot of
though.
the main characters. Also, okay, what is Ned's girlfriend? What's her name?
Betsy Brandt.
Why does she look
Like
so
Gwen
similar
Stacy?
to Gwen Stacy? It's
I don't know. I don't know why they did that.
I guess they're not gonna have her in this universe, and that's maybe again just a callback to Gwen Stacy.
Well, they're not
Yeah.
even really having Mary Jane.
Yeah, her
Because-
name is technically Michelle.
Yeah.
They're making it his love interest. He's ending up with MJ,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's not Mary
Well, we
Jane.
don't know that he's ending up with MJ.
I like these two characters.
I-
together,
I-
so-
Hey, I thought the acting was a
I
little
do too.
subpar.
I think she. No. I thought
Before
they
we
were
get
great.
too far away though from this memoriam
I
video,
think they're great actors.
it's hilarious, but it's also dark as fuck when you really think about it.
What?
No, it definitely is dark, and it makes for a very weird viewing experience. I'm like, is no one else watching this
Wait, what
in
are
this
we-
universe
what?
think that
I-
this
The
is...
memoriam video where they're
So
doing
weird.
like all this footage.
Oh, yes!
It's funny as hell, but it's so dark when you just take a moment to think about it. They're brazing it off as comedy, and you have Betsy Brandt delivering all of this in this deadpan way while this
Wonderful.
shitty green screen happens in the background, which I know that because I was on a news channel like
Yeah.
that in high school,
You know-
and our green screen was worse than that.
I really did have a little bit of an underwhelming feeling the first 30 or so minutes of this movie. I was like, the anticipation was so high for me that maybe I don't have a viable opinion, but it was very slow.
To me, is until Mysterio gets the glasses and he's in the bar celebrating with his team. That to me was
such a satisfying moment.
I was ready. Like that movie
it was more of like a oh finally.
Like now we're starting.
Moment.
This is it.
As opposed to a what?
Yeah.
It finally takes one
It
plot
does.
thread and then that's the movie.
I do love how every time there is holograms, and it shows a lot, it says a lot about these actors, there is just something so subtly off in the actor's delivery when it's just the hologram. Like, they're still convincing enough, but there's just that one teeny tiny thing that if you were to go back and rewatch it, you could tell that Samuel L. Jackson was doing something different with his acting, which I guess Samuel L. Jackson is triple acting in this movie at this point.
I am going to go see this again.
Oh yeah. I mean, Liz already asked me, so when are we seeing this again?
Awesome. I want to go. Oh God, where to go with this right now?
Yeah,
I do have a funny meme idea, and if I can bring it up now, you could create it for me.
Yeah, just like I did with the
to.
freaking Princess Bride.
Yep. I was thinking about it on the drive over, and it has to do with my favorite movie, Donnie Darko.
Nice.
Which Jake Gyllenhaal stars in.
Oh,
He does
cool.
a wonderful job. But there is a couple lines of dialogue in which him and Gretchen Ross are walking down the sidewalk, and he's walking her home from school. School is canceled for reasons in which you will find out. And he gives her his full name, Donnie Darko, and she's like, wow.
Roll credits.
Sound like some kind of superhero. And he says, what makes you think I'm not? And I want a picture of some fucking moment in this movie with Mysterio being such a terrible person.
Quentin Beck.
Like either the last line that he gives when he's lying down on the ground and dying and says something about people will believe anything or something like that. But I need that scene. What makes you think I'm not this? Okay, Jake Gyllenhaal, you're Mysterio. This is what makes me think that you are not a superhero.
Going off of that, there was that one, it was only one line where he's still in his act and they're about to go on their mission. Hey, don't call me Mr. Beck. I'm Mysterio. Where he delivered that so, like, wholesomely, where I'm like, oh man, now I hope he's not a villain.
I mean, I hope the whole time he wouldn't be a villain, even though I knew he would be, because I wanted it to be the Jake Gyllenhaal show.
I also think
was it not
It was so wholesome.
I think they should keep killing their best villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
They didn't though, Vulture lived.
Vulture lived, but that's the only one, but they killed Killmonger and Black Panther, and they killed,
Stop acting like you're not gonna get sequels. You know you're gonna get sequels.
I know, and they're killing Mysterio here,
What purpose would he have served
I honestly,
this movie?
Yeah,
I mean, they're gonna do...
And his death was, I think, nice. It was
I thought that was a good scene.
was
Just because
okay.
they gotta do Sinister Six, if they're still planning on doing that, which they
But
teased
they
in the
did,
last
yeah.
He threw a grenade when he died.
I have to. One of my favorite parts of this movie was the Peter Tingle moment.
No, I was gonna bring that up.
Just
Yeah,
like,
I mean, but
rouse Mysterio.
even before that, I don't think we don't have a lot
That
of
was
like
a good moment.
on-camera scenes where Spider-Man is not swinging. Like all of Spider-Man's like fight scenes through any of the Spider-Man films are very like swingy and web-based.
Mm-hmm.
But Spider-Man to me, comics-wise, has like a lot of like martial arts powers.
Yeah.
And so this movie is something I thought no Spider-Man had ever done, and it is that scene
Maybe
right
he's getting
before
there.
where Mysterio tries to do the CGI illusion trick on him again, and he closes his eyes and he uses spider sense to fight the drones. And that action sequence was one of the cooler action sequences in any of the
Yeah.
I
Marvel.
think it was the coolest of this movie.
Certainly in this movie, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, to me, of any of the Marvel movies, I think this was top of action sequences. This rivals some of the like Captain America, the Civil War, and the Winter Soldier. Some of those fights, him killing those drones was just like awesome Spider-Man. No web, just flipping and punching.
Because
and
now he's finally unlocked Spider-Man's greatest power. Spider-Man's greatest power is Spider-Sense.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, every time Spider-Man uses spider sense, his adrenaline goes up just a little bit, and he gets more powerful.
Yeah.
So
and I
now
thought
he's
that
finally
was
found a
such a
way to
beautiful
unlock
sequence.
this.
Yeah, I thought that was an awesome job on that. I
It
loved
was.
that. That was one of the highlights of the film for me.
I
That and him, him using the Tony Stark tech in the plane to make his suit, and them playing Back in Black,
Yes.
which was in Iron Man. Yeah, which is a direct callback. He gets a black suit. He looks, the way he even spins the Spider-Man logo around, the way Tony Stark does, and Tom Holland, excellent job once again on his acting and channeling his Tony Stark Iron Man, the way he looked there.
In that moment, we are all happy.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, that's
We're all looking at this man, this boy, turning into a man, just being this reincarnation almost of Tony Stark.
I think to me these Marvel films, the MCU films, do best when they are fan service, which is what works so well about Infinity War for me.
Yeah.
When it was just it's just all of the cool heroes you like being at their absolute coolest.
Yeah.
So these two scenes.
That's all they have.
Oh, wait, hold
Right.
on. But you
Where
had a
you
problem with
see-
Endgame.
I did.
With fan service.
No,
There's
no.
way more fan service in Endgame than there was in
No,
Infinity
I
War.
said I thought that they didn't
I don't know about that.
do it well enough, and the only thing they did, I didn't like Captain America grabbing the hammer. I didn't like that.
Oh, I fucking love
I didn't. I thought that was.
That was badass.
I thought that was too far. I wanted more just everybody being their own hero,
I'll take it.
not just
I'll be back with you in a moment.
Where we just
Only because Thor said I knew it.
yeah.
That's when I accepted it. I'm like, okay.
I thought it was a cool moment.
Yeah.
I think it was weird that he kept the hammer.
Yeah.
Since it's
That was
Thor's.
kinda
but-
Well, he has to put it back in its timeline, which he does.
Okay.
But I didn't like. There's a lot of disrespect towards Captain America's shield, and then he goes through all of Infinity War without it, and then he gets it back in Endgame, and then it's shredded
Yeah.
before the end of the fight. I'm like, I want more shield. I want more of him with the shield.
I think there's
I don't-
5 seasons.
Let's
of
not
S.H.I.E.L.D.
talk about. We can talk about Endgame.
But yeah,
forever.
Yeah,
hold on.
it's
Wait, hold on. I have my piece to say. The fact that you didn't like Captain handling Thor's hammer, fuck you. It was fucking awesome.
That's fine.
We can move on.
Again, this is after dark, which is
But
why I'm pouring myself
this is
a
something else I
third
wanna
glass
say.
of wine.
Going back to the final action scene
Yeah.
from this movie,
Yeah.
is that all these movies have a tendency to ramp everything up.
Yeah.
And it's after Endgame, it's where do you even go from there? And
Yeah, no
this
shit.
this final sequence, I felt they went too far in a
Which-
few places.
With which end sequence of him
The
killing
sequence
the
of
drones
him
and-
fighting all the drones.
Yeah.
Because you really just could not tell what was happening. It's just blurred effects.
Honestly, that's kind of how I feel
thousands of
about
drones
any
all around.
fast-paced action sequence in any Marvel movies. I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, it's like
And that's
Shakespeare.
the problem.
It's like watching Shakespeare, though. You can't listen to every single particular word. You just have to let it graze over you and accept it.
Is
for
that
what it
why I
is.
don't understand Shakespeare?
Yes.
But
Any good
sucks.
Shakespeare performer will not make you
You
focus
heard it here
on
first.
individual lines. They will let you
You did hear it
understand it
first.
as a whole. It will blur if they do it right.
Spider-Man Far From Home is modern day Shakespeare.
but there are no real stakes if I can't even tell
What's happening?
what is happening. What's
Yeah.
attacking.
Well, see, I kind of
It's
disagree.
okay, I know
was,
that he's gonna get through it.
I was really
and I
enjoying
can't
the
tell what
action
he's doing.
sequence. And to be able to enjoy it from the corner seat that I was at, which is not my favorite seat, I was on the end.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I felt like I picked up on that, in a range from where the worst action sequence of all time would be the Michael Bay Transformers scene. It's just a match of robot
It's just
parts.
what
And
am I
the
looking
cleanest
at?
action sequence of all time would be Achilles takes the beach in Troy. Right? This is, I think, more on the higher end of readable action sequences. I read that okay. I read
I
that
felt like it
sequence.
was just a little chaos.
I didn't
It
have
was-
fun watching
because
it,
it
and I
had
really
to-
pay attention during those scenes because I too have trouble following along during
Yeah,
really, really
because they
fast
had to
action
bounce in and
sequences.
out of the Quentin Beck
I
Mysterio world.
liked the way that they flipped between your POV. They did a lot of drone shots
Yeah.
during that, which I think was really interesting. I don't know if you liked it or not.
No,
but
I think
It
the way
kept me a
because
little more
because they had to show that he was getting drones that he couldn't see.
yeah.
So if we only shoot it, which is the most readable, where we shoot it where
Just a
it's
wide
all from
hand
Mysterio's
shot.
point of view, and
Okay.
it's just him smashing drones, right, which would be very readable, then we don't really, like, I mean, we do understand the stakes that he can't see the drones because we've established that, but, like, I don't think it's as effective as, like, flipping from him striking out randomly, and then as soon as he hits the drone, then we see the drone and he crushes it. And then he flips into space again, clipping other drones. I thought that worked really well. It does make it harder to read, but I think that, like, flipping back and forth from the Mysterio realm to real life works for that scene, even if it makes it a little muddier.
I agree.
I
agree. Did you actually write notes during this?
Yes, I did.
So
leave it to Tristan.
it seems like what this movie is about, if it is about anything, is the
Spider-Man.
No, is like the difference between reality and fantasy.
Yeah.
You know, that's like the main theme that it's playing with, and we get that also in Zendaya's MJ, whose every other line is about how she loves to tell the truth and loves it when people tell the truth.
Yeah.
And I wonder what, if anything, you guys took from that. What I found to be like maybe the only like central idea I could hold on to.
Yeah.
It seems like a weird thing for the movie to be about, given that it's also completely fake. It's just it's like a bunch of guys surrounded by CGI, and the movie is reminding you that. It's reminding you of how fake it is, which seems like just a bold choice.
I'll chime in there. Who cares?
I'm trying to think of the
An
central.
excellent point.
So I don't walk into a Marvel film looking for
Yeah.
a central theme.
Yeah, I just
Which
want to
is
see.
why-
Well, normally I wouldn't expect there to be
But
one,
that's
but
why
I felt like this one jumped out.
That's why I did not see Infinity War in Endgame, and now that I have, I'm very, very happy that I did, because it was a very magical cinematic experience having this connection to these characters over so much time and knowing them so well. It was magical, and I have to suspend my disbelief.
No, I do too, and I think, Tristan touched on it earlier, is that was really my problem, why I think Endgame is worse than Infinity War, in sort of the same ways, because, like, they tried to have a plot in Endgame that involved, like, time travel and, like, closure, where, like, everybody had to have, all the three big Avengers had to have their, like, closure arcs where they talked to their parents.
They did have to do that.
Yeah.
It was the end of the franchise.
Right.
Yes.
But to me, I don't care. I was
Great.
bored. I don't care about any of that stuff in this. I don't care about the themes of, like, in this one it was the themes of like you said, reality and what's real and telling the truth. And then in Endgame we had, like, the themes of, loss and, grieving and whatever, that type of stuff, both with the snap and then them being able to go back in time and have closure with the people that they thought they didn't have closure for. And it's like, I want the perfect Marvel Cinematic Universe movie to me is Infinity War, which is just all of the
Pure action.
superheroes constantly fighting somebody who is strong and, like, hordes of
And it's
bots.
I think
It's
you
not
also
even
like
just
it because
that.
they lose.
No, I don't care. They can lose. I like
You're
they win.
soulless. You like seeing them lose.
No, they win in this, and this was the parts where they're fighting are cool. They win in.
Okay, fine.
In-
I may have had too many
Winter
glasses of wine
Soldier.
to form a complete thought right now, but did this not in any way allow Peter Parker to explore the idea that with great power does come great responsibility, because he denies that responsibility?
That's all this movie is.
That's all. Yeah.
So that simply put, why can't that be the underlying theme of the film? I mean, and I accept
It always
that,
is,
and in
because
that
it's
way,
the same underlying theme of every Spider-Man movie that's ever been a Spider-Man.
Well,
I-
I think Emma makes a point there then. Why can't it just be the theme for this one too? Why not?
Yeah, it can. Honestly,
in a repetitive
you all
like,
can
arc.
pick whatever random
But
things you want.
I understand how you
Yeah,
say
I mean,
that the arc is
Film,
kind
like,
of repetitive.
now that the film
like
is out, it's open to whatever interpretation you want from it.
I mean, to me, I take from this that Peter Parker is kind of leaving his adolescence, even though he's trying to hang on to it.
And that's
I-
all
I
Spider-Man
do-
is.
Yeah, and I do like that, as opposed to the Tobey Maguire and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans, we really do get to see the awkward teenagery life of Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Spider-Man 2 still handled the whole balancing superhero life and
Yeah.
balancing.
But I
real
still
life
didn't
the
buy
best.
that he was a fucking teenager in high school.
Well, no, he wasn't a
was
teenager
in
in high
college.
school.
Oh, you're right. That's right. It's been a while.
He was
since I've
basically
seen
in
that.
grad school by the time
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 rolls around, so.
I think maybe one of the problems with this whole franchise, and one of the reasons I felt
Well, we're going after the whole franchise
this
now.
this was so overstuffed is because everything has to be connected. Like if this was just a movie about Peter dealing with his childhood angst and beating Spider-Man, of course then it would just be Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
But then I would also like it more. Like I like Spider-Man.
But it's
2
also
more.
him filling the shoes of what is supposedly going to be, like, have been known as the greatest hero and icon of the past, 10 years of everybody's lives is Iron
God,
Man.
I hope they do Death of Spider-Man.
How does he feel?
What? Why?
Like from Ultimate Series?
No, I don't care. But you know what? Honestly,
You sidetracked my thought.
Sorry, whatever.
No.
Go on.
I'll jump in on Hunters because I feel exactly the opposite. And to me, the only thing that I feel like I care about anymore about these Marvel movies is what's going to happen next. And that was like, I think a major like down point to me when after I finished Endgame and I thought like it could stop right here and knowing that they wouldn't and going, well, now I don't really know what there is to latch on to. And to me, I like that there's always a continuation. Because like you said, you're right, then it is just Spider-Man 2, which is an okay movie, but it's not...
I'm talking about the interconnectedness just like cluttering up the plot. And muddling the ability to like do character.
They definitely,
you know?
I think they put a lot in, maybe it has something to do with the fact that it was Sony, that they slumped, Marvel slumped a lot on the shoulders of
No, I'm
Sony
pretty sure
and
that
Amy
Marvel
Pascal.
handles this and Sony just reaps the rewards.
Yeah, I'm sure Sony does nothing.
Yeah.
They would not trust
You would hope so.
I mean, on my way here, I was just thinking, dear God, I hope this continues on for the next 7 or 8, 10 years.
Again, I think that they will.
Until the end of time.
Yeah.
Until
I
the
mean, I would love to
society
see
crumbles,
Tom
we'll
Holland
see
10
MCU
years from now
films.
still being Spider-Man.
He said he's up for it, so I'll let him do that.
They probably own him.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
want
you're
Tom
up for it.
Holland.
Yeah. But eventually that contract's going to run out and he's going to say, you know, RDJ, what did they pay you for Endgame? And he's going to give him a number and Tom Holland's going to spit back that number right to Disney. And they'll pay him.
Yeah.
I want all of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Spider-Man.
what Robert Downey Jr. did for Avengers 2. He had made so much money for himself in Avengers 1 that he made them pay the rest of the cast more money. He was bored of getting money for himself and wrote in his contract they had to pay the same price for him as Chris Hemsworth, who was not a big name at the time. So by the time they made Endgame, I mean, that's why they had to kill Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's because at some point,
It was a financially correct decision.
40% of the production budget of Endgame was just Robert Downey Jr.'s contract. So it just
You're not
made
even
sense.
joking right
Yeah, they're gonna
40
have
million.
to, 40 million is what
40
they
million.
paid him. I actually think he took a team-friendly deal there. 'Cause I thought it was 50 million for Avengers 2.
I mean, the Spider-Man movies and Spider-Man himself at this point, it's just one giant investment
It
for
is,
Disney.
and really though, luckily for Disney executives, is unlike Iron Man and Captain America, you have a good fan favorite secondary hero. So you do have canonically, comics wise, Bucky and Falcon took over the mantle of Captain America.
Yeah.
And in the MCU they passed it down to Falcon.
But we're getting Falcon and Winter Soldier
Right,
Disney
but
Plus miniseries.
but I don't think that either of those, Bucky or Falcon have been as praised as just any of the times in which Steve Rogers is Captain America. He is always Captain America, whereas Miles Morales has been pretty universally accepted as a Spider-Man, as a worthy successor to Spider-Man, and is the only one who has established himself is still Spider-Man in the comics. Whereas Bucky and Falcon have both given it back to Steve Rogers. Miles still exists. I mean, he exists with Peter Parker, but he's the only Spider-Man in high school right now. Is kind of the Spider-Man you think of in the Stan Lee, Steve Ditko way. And so in that way, I think that Disney has an excellent bargaining chip. If Tom Holland ever decides he wants his $100 million, they'll be like, well, we'll take Miles Morales, and then they'll have to back down.
I do.
Miles Morales will be
not
there.
The shadow of Miles Morales being the only Spider-Man can live more in the can be chasing Tom Holland more than Riri Williams as Ironheart can. hide.
I mean, we know Miles Morales exists in this universe. It was basically
Yes.
confirmed in Homecoming with
It
Donald
was.
Glover's character.
Which I wish he'd come back in this one.
Me
I don't
too.
know how, but I wish they had brought. Did you know? Here's my favorite little Spider-Man trilogy.
No.
Well, you guys know this now because of
What?
Into the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales' dad's name is Jefferson Davis. Which, if you are a history buff, you will know the name Jefferson Davis from the President of the Confederate States of America. So that's a very odd name choice, I thought, for Miles Morales' father. It's never, as far as I'm concerned, addressed that his name is Jefferson Davis. Anyway,
Well, there's something else that we've
I'm waiting on
established.
that. I'm waiting on that conversation.
We established something very interesting in this movie about Peter Parker's personal life and the activities that he gets up to.
We do establish it's official. He is the first
Official.
Marvel superhero to confirm that
He
masturbates.
masturbates.
First time they say that he watched porn, and he also refers to his penis as his
a web shooter.
So there you go.
Love it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna give
I
you a
had-
counterpoint
I
just for the
had
sake
to
of
bring
argument that he could have bought the adult film. It never says that he actually masturbated to
It
it.
does
But
not.
then again,
But
like you said, he
with
calls
those
the penis
two-
the web shooter.
with those
Yeah.
two pieces of information, I think it is confirmed.
Deductive reasoning.
Yeah. Yeah.
With
Peter
the powers
Parker
combined.
Masturbates.
Yep. Spider-Man, the most like us of any of the heroes. That's why he's a worthy Iron Man successor.
No,
God damn.
actually no. You're actually
No.
wrong. It was confirmed that Star-Lord masturbates in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think you're right, actually.
Yep. If you guys had a black light here, this would look
Yes.
Totally
Oh
different.
shit!
He does say that his spaceship is covered in jizz. Which is a weird thought. And
I'm kind of mad what they did with Gamora in Endgame and all that stuff because I really liked the arc that they had together. As
I will always be upset with the horrendous treatment of the Guardians of the Galaxy characters. I was a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy comics-wise.
Okay, I'm
And,
sorry. I was not a huge fan of. I never read Guardians of the Galaxy comic, but I've heard nothing but praise for the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
I
they're
enjoyed
good, but-
I enjoyed the first Guardians
yeah,
for what it is. I hated the second one, and even with the first one, as much as I enjoyed it, the characters are way different, completely gutted, and that bums me out because I was very excited for a lot of those characters. And now,
Bum me out.
unfortunately, the comics have taken lead from the movies, and now the comic characters too. When you go read the comics, are more like their James Gunn characters, which is a bummer because I miss the old Guardians. So anyway,
James Gunn loves the Guardians.
Well,
apparently,
Alex,
though.
James
for
Gunn,
once,
I
kind of
was-
agree
I
with
believe
you.
he does.
I was psyched when James Gunn got fired, to be
Yeah.
honest. I was ready for someone to come in and do a better job with the Guardians. After Guardians 2, I
Why do
thought,
I trust you to write scripts for me?
because
He's
you
strongly
know that
opinionated.
James Gunn should have been fired after Guardians 2.
We talked about
Okay.
Spider-Man masturbating. When we were gone.
Okay.
Yeah, do you remember, have you seen, you probably haven't, the scene which Tristan referenced where Star-Lord says, if you had a black light in this room, it would look totally different, thus
Yeah, that sounds
confirming
familiar.
that his ship is covered in jizz.
Oh, so there are two masturbators in the MCU.
But
Okay.
it is a crazy thing to say and to think. Anytime now that you watch a Guardians movie, you won't be able to get out of your head where you're like sitting like watching these serious conversations take place on the Guardians of the Galaxy ship.
When did they have serious conversations?
Well, the Star-Lord Gamora love stuff.
Yeah.
That was not always taken seriously.
I think you
know
should
it.
just assume that everyone masturbates, you know.
Yeah,
like-
Well,
I
I
have a few
do.
more. I have a few more notes to get through because this discussion is probably running really long.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean,
But yeah, I know.
shit.
It's 12:30 right now, and we have to be here
12:30.
at 11
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah, let's
fucking
get the couple
Casablanca.
notes
I
in
don't
and let's go.
sleep.
But to make sure that we're with tradition, do you have anything to say about Zack Snyder?
Infinite things.
Yeah, I mean,
You're talking about how much you
Not-
don't like James Gunn.
yeah, not related to this movie. I mean, always go fuck yourself, Zack Snyder. You ruin things all the time that I love.
You've made several of the worst movies of all time.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can make a movie worse than Sucker Punch except maybe you.
yeah. And we continue to look forward to your efforts to make worse movies. Hopefully, you will take none of my beloved franchises anymore. Hopefully you have been cast out of Hollywood after what you did to the Justice League films.
Though I do want to see the Fountainhead.
Yeah, but you'll have
Because
to
it might be
personally
worse
film
than
that.
Sucker Punch.
Yeah, and I hate the Fountainhead as a source, so great. I hope you ruin it. I hope you make it communist propaganda, because that's only you could turn the Fountainhead into communist propaganda, and I look forward to that. But nothing related to Spider-Man.
What's a source material that you would love to see adapted, just in general?
Just in general?
Mine was actually Dr. Sleep, and I'm very excited for, that. Just to throw that out there. It's a good book.
I think that somebody, I don't know. I haven't finished it, so I don't want to say that yet.
Okay, regardless, I hope that Zack Snyder adapts.
You hope Zack Snyder adapts any...
Oh, you
Something
wanted to
that you
ruin
love.
it.
Yeah, you wanted to ruin it. Yeah, I mean, I'm
Because
From
the
best
rant
friend
that
to best
would
friend, I
ensue,
hope he ruins something that you love.
Yeah.
It would be the best moment of
What,
my
like
life.
Superman or Batman, for example?
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's
these
done
last things.
Yeah.
The hotel room. Mary
Zero.
Jane's-
There we go. There's a comic book called Zero that
There
I
it is.
love that nobody else knows anything about. It's a spy comic.
Only
It's
I read
incredible.
it.
Yeah, I mean, it was true. I went to the comic book store for a little while, and we ordered one copy for the store every month, and it went into my hands. So, knowing my luck, they're going to announce tomorrow Zack Snyder adapting the comic book series Zero, and I don't know. Then I'll end it all like Zack Snyder's daughter had to.
Oh.
There you go. There's your stinger.
What was the next question?
So MJ's hotel room was 102, and I've been. You may
It's
have seen
because
me like
this is
looking on
Spider-Man 2?
I kept looking on my phone to see, is 102 like connected or something? Is that when Mary Jane first appears in Spider-Man? Apparently it's not, but I thought it had to be referenced because they stayed on that shot for just a little bit.
Because this is Spider-Man Season 1, Episode 2.
Okay. Oh, you're still not over what he is.
I'm good. I'm cool.
Suicide is not a joke, Alex.
Suck a fat one, Zack Snyder. After hours.
Let's throw Kurt
Don't
Orky in there too.
Put my name involved in that.
For hour after
I
hour.
am a suicide survivor. You should be ashamed.
No.
So
I will
is
never,
most people.
I'll never be
A
ashamed.
lot of people.
I'm
What
ashamed
using-
for just pulling that
Using
card. That wasn't
whatever
cool.
tactic I can to shit on Zack Snyder.
All right.
Nothing
Anything
is
else
too
we want to
sacred.
say about
And you
this
know,
movie?
it's my fault because I told you to
That's right.
shit on Zack Snyder. I think it says a lot that one of the theater's biggest laughs came from Peter Parker saying the news never lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that that was like the largest laugh of the night.
It was the easiest joke to understand, so.
That was good. There was no Stan Lee cameo at all.
I thought about that too.
Yeah.
That's weird. For their last movie of their big
Of
big
Phase
arc.
3, you'd
Yeah.
think that it would.
Did they said which movie his last cameo was going to be in, right?
I think they are relegating it to Endgame.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they would have had one in this. I don't think he shot one
And
for
that's
this.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I
I was just shocked that he never appeared at all. Like, just didn't have photos.
Yeah,
It does
something.
seem like they would have just like shot Stan Lee like
Did
smiling in random like places.
No,
like,
they've done
knowing
that.
that he was
It's
gonna die, they
all
would
but
just, like,
confirmed they've
finger
done that.
guns.
Did
Yeah.
you guys see the credits they added for Endgame? The Stanley tribute?
Oh,
Yeah.
you saw the extended
Oh,
yeah,
version
last night.
I did not see that.
with
They just
pre-rendered
added it
Hulk.
too. Yes.
I don't want to see that.
It was weird.
I got
Yeah.
some Stan Lee thoughts, but that might be too long.
I
for this
like that
video.
they put dedicated to Stan Lee and Steve.
Like,
Yep.
yeah, that
He
I,
never gets any credit.
No, none of them do because Stan Lee, as much good that he did, he stole a lot from a lot of people. And Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby are two of those people.
Social network.
Stanley's got good PR, man.
Evidence that that's
I mean,
okay.
he is his
Well,
own
that's
PR man,
business.
and really, if you like know how comics were written back in the days in which Stan Lee was writing them, he really did not do a ton of writing. It was really mostly on the artist. They call it the Marvel method, and really Stan Lee. I mean, in some ways, Kirby and Ditko did themselves a disservice by quitting, and Stan Lee stayed. And so Marvel just said, okay, well, since you're the only company man here, we're gonna make you the guy. So he died fabulously wealthy, and Kirby Indigo died penniless, despite the fact that they had more to do with the creation of Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and Iron Man than really Stan Lee ever did.
That's our family-friendly company.
Yeah,
owns the biggest franchise in the world.
They really fucked over some really great, talented people. So, and Stan Lee did a lot to not acknowledge them and pretend that he was the main creative force behind these characters, although he was not. So,
Well.
not to really hate on Stan Lee, but also, he's not as great as we all say.
Is anyone really?
No.
All I'm
Except Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's the fucking truth. Okay? The man can do no wrong.
This probably won't last that long conversation-wise, but I feel like it was a big side plot of the movie, so we might as well talk about Ned and Betty's little...
It was cute.
That was fun. Yeah, fun joke. Good reoccurring bit.
It was funny, but stupid.
You gotta have reoccurring bits to keep the movie
Like I
going.
said, it's not important, but I feel if we're gonna discuss things, we might as well
I
put it.
couldn't
give him something
stop
to do.
looking at her and thinking, why do you look like Gwen Stacy? Why are they doing that?
I actually posted on Reddit after the first trailer for this movie dropped. Is Gwen Stacy making an appearance? Oh my God, Redditors are mean. They're like, that's Betsy Brent, you fucking retard. It already got confirmed.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh Jesus, my bad.
I posted something on the Simpsons subreddit the other day, and I got downvoted to -40, and I felt very, very hated in my life because I just realized that Mrs. Crabapple is Mrs. Crabapple.
Sure.
And I didn't know that.
I got downvoted
And
pretty
I
hard
just
once.
realized it after however many years.
No one can ever just say, oh good,
That's
you
cool.
got to learn that that cool
That's
fact
all.
today.
No, Redditors are assholes, but that's why we love them.
I got crushed on Reddit for a comment, but I deserved it. It was
That's kind of how I feel. I feel like I deserve
no, mine. Mine was
I guarantee he.
Yeah,
I don't know
it
what
was
he's
worse.
about to say, but he deserved it more.
So if you guys have ever seen the show Gossip Girl,
Yes.
Yes.
the opening, the first episode, Chuck Bass is assaulting
Yes.
a woman, Jenny Humphrey.
Jenny, yes.
And when the brother Dan Humphrey comes to confront him,
AKA Gossip Girl
he
spoilers.
says to Dan, "It's a party, things happen." And there was a Reddit thread in which Ed Westwick, the actor who plays Chuck Bass, was accused of sexual assault, and I commented, "It's a
What?
party, things happen," and I got pretty heavily downvoted.
You should have gone to the Gossip Girl. Was it on the Gossip Girl subreddit?
It was not. It was on our television.
They might have.
Yeah. I thought maybe if I had just written Chuck Bass attributed the quote, but I don't even think I put it in quotations. I just wrote, "It's a party, things happen," and got crushed.
You watched Gossip
You
Girl?
ended up on shit Reddit.
I watched a season
know,
of Gossip
Good
Girl.
show.
These
Dan Humphrey was Gossip Girl.
these videos that we're doing. This is the reason that none of us will ever actually get hired at Disney or
Hey!
anything.
Alright,
talking
well,
about?
fuck Disney. I don't like Disney.
Probably.
That's
This
not a
is-
secret.
Like all the shit that happened with James Gunn, we're building up our own shit right now with these goddamn podcasts. And I'm fine with that. I want to stay in the indie scene anyway.
Shocking video services of Alex McDonald.
Shitting on Zack Snyder and suicide jokes.
I'll own it.
So the last thing that I had to say was when they put the little thing at the end of Homecoming where Michelle says, "Oh yeah, well my friends call me MJ, but I don't have any friends." When I first heard that, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. That's not MJ, obviously.
Yeah.
But in this movie, she killed it.
Yeah, I liked her a lot.
I loved her as MJ.
The only thing she needs to do now is to say, "Face a tiger, you just hit the jackpot," which is Mary Jane's famous.
I thought that somehow they were
line.
going to sneak in a variation of that.
And they didn't, which was a bummer, but I would like to see them do that.
Very possibly unpopular opinion. I was very underwhelmed by all of the supporting actors acting in this movie, and it's not because of them, because I've seen them in other things. I don't think the direction of these characters was very well done, and it was a little too campy and comical, which I guess makes sense for the movie, but
Is Zendaya one of those actors you're talking about?
I don't know.
Because I kind of felt that way too.
You did too?
Is it Zendaya?
Yeah.
No, I liked.
Or is it Zendaya?
Oh, I have no
know.
idea.
I thought she was good. I agree with you. Ned and Flash got really relegated to like bits. You know,
Yeah.
Ned with the girlfriend was just like the way that like I felt like
But
Drax and
every
Guardians.
single one of them, MJ, the chick, Ned, Flash,
Yeah.
they all
just became
had
bits
the same
and not real
tone
people.
to their
It was a little
delivery.
cringy almost.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I liked the Zendaya stuff when
The
she was
only-
just with Peter. When
Yeah.
she's,
The only
when
part of
she's
like
with
was,
the class
was
I
at the
did.
end
yeah,
on the
I've said
bridge.
it too.
Yeah.
They have
was so
spectacular
cute.
Yeah,
chemistry.
when it's
You
her
can't
and
deny that.
when it's
I
her
deny
and
it.
Peter, I liked her
Well,
character.
I guess it's possible.
You're right. Anybody when it's
Don't
just
think
the
they have
classmates, not.
But I love
And
both
she's
of them
just
as
throwing
actors.
out
Like I do,
flat
and I
one-liners.
Well, I
Yeah,
felt
yeah.
a lot of chemistry between them.
didn't.
Yeah, me too. I felt a ton of chemistry between.
I didn't.
Also, I really love
Maybe it's because
that.
I want to.
I was so
Peter
afraid
Parker.
that they
You're
were going to do
jealous.
the classic trope
Yes.
where she kept getting mad at him for disappearing, but it was, in the end, it was like, okay, you have shit to do. You're Spider-Man,
Also,
that makes
Her
sense.
facial expressions, the way they pan on her for like 0.5 seconds too long, it was just too fucking obvious.
They're
And she
trying to
doesn't
She-
really have many expressions.
They're trying to do like a Jim thing where they pan to her to be like rolling
Yeah.
her eyes, but she doesn't.
But she can't do it.
I still think they
She
handled
doesn't
her
make the
way
jump.
better in this movie than they did in Homecoming.
I
She
don't
was way
know.
more
it's
likable
a
in this
small.
To me,
criticism
Peter
anyway.
Parker, the way that Tom Holland portrays him, is a very believable character, as was Jake Gyllenhaal as Quentin Beck. To me, all of the supporting characters, especially the teachers and the fellow students, are not totally believable characters, and that's okay.
Is it that they're not believable, or that Tom Holland and Jake
Gyllenhaal.
Or just too
Gyllenhaal
fucking good?
are
I
just
don't know.
too fucking
No,
good?
no.
Because
I think you could write those characters better. I think they
I
give them the
can't
short
tell
end of
you
the
how many
stick.
times,
But
like,
I think that goes
um,
back to Hunter saying it felt bulky, too much stuff.
Yeah,
They could write them. They could write them better, but they would have to give them more of the movie.
I agree. Yes, absolutely.
I've been a consultant on a few short films,
Mhm.
and when they're talking to me about the cast that they've lined up, they tell me about all these actors that like have very little experience. They're my friends and everything, but we got this one actor who's just he stars in all his shows. He's fantastic, and I'm like, that's the dumbest thing that you can do. If you put in this phenomenal actor, it's gonna make all these other actors
Look like
look
shit.
so much
But this
like
is a
shit.
multi-billion-dollar Marvel film. Can you
Yeah.
not spring
Yeah.
Surely
some
they
other
can
fucking
have
actors?
a lot of good actors. They can.
And
have
I
more
think
than
they
one.
are. That's the thing, though. I think.
Yeah, exactly. I
And
don't think
having
they're
I'm
that
saying
good.
this is that
In a-
same
in a
thing
way,
on a much larger scale.
Having
though.
worked with them and
Yeah.
seen them doing this, they are professionals. They are good at what they do. I think it's the final cuts
Yeah.
and the way
This
that
had a
Yeah,
lot
it just
of.
felt a little camp.
There was a lot of choppy edits in
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
That I
Yes.
thought like was also clear that they had a much longer movie that they had to cut because they would like randomly like cut away from things and I'd be like, there's definitely chunks
More to
of this
that.
conversation missing. The way they'll like cut between
Yep.
things
I
and
believe
A
like
that's
movie is
probably
written
true.
3
Yeah.
times, once as a screenplay, once while you're shooting, and then finally when you edit it.
yeah, there was some choppy moments, especially near the beginning, which
Yeah.
is part of my like dislike. Some like really, I wish I could remember some examples where it just like the first scene I think is like or whatever
The news
the
thing?
Mysterio
Oh.
open where you know they're driving in the desert in Mexico and then they're like
You could have done without that.
they're like
scene
yeah and they go
completely.
like
True.
oh I think you know the locals were talking about a monster here that had a face and like I don't know if it had a face and then the monster shows up
Yeah.
and then Mysterio shoots some green lasers at
And
it
he
and then
says,
says
"You don't want any
you don't want any part
of
to do this cut and I was like
What
that
is-
didn't make any
why-
sense why did it destroy the town and then immediately come back to the town like
And
how
we
You
know
know,
the
just-
reason at the end is because he's
right
faking
it's
all
because
this.
it was
Yes.
fake but also like
And
his
also-
plan was just to continuously fight a monster
Also,
in this
that was
desert
the
town
one
until
fucking scene that
The reason that scene disappointed
Also,
me
they
is
could-
because I wanted the rest of the movie to be about Jake Gyllenhaal then.
This movie would have had
we
a much
open on
better
him and then we
opening if
immediately
they
leave
just
him.
started with "I Will Always Love You." Then.
You know what? Yeah, I would like a whole movie dedicated to Jake Gyllenhaal as any character ever.
Mysterio
To
solo
the
film.
tune of "I Will Always Love You."
Just
Yes.
Mysterio Disney Plus series.
See, this
Also,
is why
let me say this.
we're gonna
I'm
watch
shocked
Brokeback
that they
Mountain and Donnie
actually
Darko.
That I'm shocked they made his classic fishbowl look work on screen.
Oh!
Yeah, look good.
Oh! oh, it was fucking
And
I'm
dope.
glad they went with it because it's weird too.
And Spider-Man broke the fishbowl
And
still.
they kept
The punch.
it. Even beyond the mask of Mysterio, they kept the fucking
The
fishbowl.
fishbowl. Because, and I was nervous about that because if they have Mysterio's Spider-Man villain and Spider-Man doesn't punch the fishbowl, then what are we doing?
I also really
Yeah.
liked that
There
his suit that he wore.
Yeah, it looks like a mocap suit.
Yes,
I mean,
it
just
does.
is. They just
I
pull one out.
love
that was
that.
There is, maybe this is actually in the comics, but as far as I'm concerned,
Uh-huh.
they actually made a tiny reference to the Spider-Man 2 video game.
They
Because
did.
Mysterio appears in the Spider-Man 2
Yes,
video
he
game,
does.
which
Yeah.
before Spider-Man
Well-
PS4 was the best Spider-Man video game. And there's a whole level where you're trapped in this fun house,
Yeah.
and these versions of the funhouse Spider-Mans come out of the mirror and they start piling on you and beating you up.
Yeah.
And they did that in this movie.
They did Zombie
We had-
Iron
we had-
Man too.
Oh my, Zombie
And-
Iron Man. Holy
And they had
shit.
the moment at the end with Peter Parker or Spider-Man taking the selfie that they have in the video
I
game.
do have that
So-
in the video game. There was a lot of good little
That was
video
cool.
game references.
Little Easter eggs.
I think that I think I saw the Spider-Man PS4 design on one of the holographic suits.
Really?
In my opinion, Spider-Man PS4, that's my favorite version of Spider-Man.
It's a good story.
It's a good story. It's a good Peter Parker.
I liked when he's in that that little container area where he's getting to know Karen. That's one of my favorite Spider-Man scenes.
Yeah, I love that
Ever.
too. That's a great
I
story.
like
I
the
love that
Netherlands scene
I love that scene.
where he's just the guards wearing the mask. You guys okay? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What else was I gonna say?
I
There's
don't know.
That's probably good enough.
Yeah.
I think we've
I'm
talked. to death.
Yeah.
I'm trying to wrap this up. Like anything else that I want to comment on? I could talk about Jake Gyllenhaal for hours on it.
I think everyone here can do that.
But we will
What I've
will
seen.
when we watch multiples of my top 25.
Great.
So,
All right. Well,
are we going back to a final rating here?
Let's go.
Yeah.
I don't. Has anyone changed?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I'm sticking with an A- actually.
I'm not.
I'll stick with my B.
I'm going B plus.
All right.
Here's what I want to say. It was it was fine. I'll never watch it again, and I will not watch another MCU movie unless Tristan pays for it.
So you go from a C to a C.
No, it's still C.
You know,
I'm the only one that changed.
I'm gonna tell you this, Hunter.
Alright.
That ticket was actually meant for someone else who canceled.
No, I know.
That's
Okay,
true.
cool.
Hey Dalton, if you're watching this, you missed out, bro.
I mean, he could probably just go see it. So he's probably fine.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that was a joke.
Maybe a C minus.
Oh my god!
Because I didn't actually pay for you.
It's against you.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah.
mean, overall,
well, that
Spider-Man's
that's
like-
already investment
but-
paid to make Hunter watch
But you know,
MCU
and here's the
movies.
thing. You know, Hunter will not go see another Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, but Universal, he will see as many more Annabelle movies as he can
That's
crank out.
true.
Keep them
I will.
coming, guys.
We'll be the only ones.
Spider-Man is the heart of superhero films for me, so I will continually go
I'd
to
say
see them.
Spider-Man's just the heart of superheroes. He's the superhero
That's
that
kind of what I'm
everybody
trying to
knows.
say. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Is that he
Yeah.
and they're doing it well.
Like when I
Even
think
if the
of
movies aren't well-rounded, 100% perfect movies, Tom Holland's Spider-Man
Yeah.
is the heart of superheroes.
When I think of a superhero, I think of Danny Phantom. But Spider-Man is definitely a close second. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Yep. Jake, I love you. That's about it.
And we know he's watching.
Yeah. I'll see you in September.
These videos get an average of
Broadway.
700 views. I'm sure he's watching them.
I do admire him greatly. Okay. I'm happy with that.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
Cool. Wow. Well, thanks for joining us. If you made it this far on our first, like,
Premiere.
I don't know
one.
what to call this.
Yeah, I mean, this is still
For
movies
hour
are deep,
after
I guess.
hours.
Yeah.
I'm still counting it in the movies are deep, I guess.
Well, yeah, me too. But this is the first time we've done a film that just
Hour
came
after
out.
hours, immediate review.
Immediate review.
There you go.
I like that.
We'll keep them coming.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Next is gonna be whatchamacallit.
Midsummer?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very different.
Yeah,
Very
it
different
is.
experience.
Well, again, we went from Scream to What's Eating Gilbert Grape to The Social Network to Princess Bride. I think that they know that.
To Hug Timmer, yeah, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
We're weird. We have different tastes.
Anyway.
Okay, well,
Bye, guys.
we're peacing out. Bye.
Bye.
This is gonna be the longest discussion.
Oh yeah, it's super long.
It has to be. Come on, how long are we at?
That's just more money for the channel.
What are we at?
Do you think we make money?
What are we at?
Hour 40.
Oh shit!
So that's actually just 10 minutes longer than Social Network.
That's crazy.